Hello and welcome to Senior Connections. This is your monthly show that's hosted by Senior Resources, your local area agency on aging, and we come together every month to talk about all kinds of programs and issues relating to older adults and their family and friends and caregivers. And we're trying to keep people informed about the availability of services that might help them as we age gracefully into our later years. And I'm excited today to have with me Damian Jarochi. He is one of our grants managers at Senior Resources, a coworker. And today we're going to talk about the senior millage in Muskegon County. And you might remember that a senior millage was passed by Muskegon County voters on August 2nd of 2016. Today we're going to talk more about that and the services that have been rolling out in the community in the last several months. So welcome, Damian.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining me. So before you tell us a lot more about it, I'm going to kind of remind our viewers about the senior millage, which was approved in 2016. So it provides services for people age 60 and older, and it's a $500,000 for 8 years. So we are 1 year, almost close to 2 years into that now, since it was approved. And so ultimately the Muskegon County Board of Commissioners is responsible for that funding. They have all final say on that. And just about a year ago, they chose Senior Resources to be the administrator of those millage funds. So that happened last July of 2017. And so Senior Resources is working with a board-appointed Senior Activities Committee, which is 9 members who review proposals, make recommendations to the full board for funding of programs. And we work with that committee, but we don't have a vote. We might make recommendations, and we'll talk a lot more about your important role in all of that. So the millage is expected to bring in annually around $2 million, depending on where taxable values are. It provides expansion of existing services and some new programs for seniors throughout our county, and we've had some really exciting things happening. So many of our viewers might not realize just how much that older adult population is expected to grow. It will probably double in about the next 20 years, and the fastest growing segment of that older adult population is those 85 and older. We are living a lot longer, and there are people who have termed it a silver tsunami. It is literally a tidal wave of older adults coming into our community. And so this millage funding is great in that it gives us another way to prepare for that. So let's talk a little bit about the process that we go through. The Senior Advocates Coalition, those 9 people, has issued a couple of different times requests for proposals, or we call RFPs for short. And so why is that important? Why is this request for proposal process important?
Well, as you know, there are a variety of different agencies, very small to large, that provide services for older adults. And this RFP process is a fair opportunity for both small organizations and larger organizations to apply and to receive millage funding. In addition to that, we provide accountability like collaboration letters that provide some support to the credibility of the organization. We ask for audits of their financials to ensure that they have the capacity to handle the increase in funding, as well as we talk about their knowledge of the older adult population, and as you mentioned, the silver tsunami. And in addition to all that, we also ask a very detailed explanation about the service they want to provide, how they're going to provide it, how they're going to market it, who are they targeting, so what areas of the county they're targeting, and just about how the program will run. And the committee will meet and give recommendations, and that's usually, so they give recommendations, and then it goes through the 3 committee levels to eventually be accepted.
So I think there's a lot of really important part in that. I mean, you said it's very equitable. We are trying to make sure that a variety of organizations can apply for this funding. There is no defined way that a senior millage has to be run by the state. The state allows for a millage to happen if the voters approve it, and that happened. But all over the state, and we were one of only a handful of counties that didn't have a senior millage when this all happened, it can go, some places it goes to one specific agency, some places it's through a department of the county government, and then in organizations like ours that, as an area agency on aging, we applied. But it's been really interesting for me to be involved in this with you and with other coworkers and these volunteers to look at, we've got big agencies that get a lot of money, and we've got some very small, more grassroots. But it's important for everybody I know to I think, that these aren't fly-by-night organizations. They have to have some structure. That accountability, because these are taxpayer dollars, is really, really important to us and to the committee. So, Damian, what's your role in all of this? What do you do as a grants manager?
It's a couple different roles within. So I'm usually the point person between the committee and all the millage recipients. I handle all the reporting requirements, so I contact with all the different agencies and they send me the reporting for each of their different programs that they offer. I present that to the committee monthly, because our reports run monthly. I handle the reimbursement for the different agencies, and it's important to note that because this is senior millage funding, no organization gets their funding unless they provide the service. So meals, if they don't provide the meal to an older adult, they will not get reimbursed.
It's a reimbursement process. It's not a money upfront process.
That is correct.
There's trust, but not that much.
Yeah.
You have to prove to us that they're 60, that they're Muskegon County residents, and that you provided the service that you said you were going to.
So they send me that up front, and then I also do an audit halfway through the year just to verify those units. And then if there happen to be any kind of errors in that, then we would take back funds.
Okay. So we're coming up pretty soon to that audit time, I imagine, so your job is about to change a little bit. So tell us, I know this, but you've been grants manager for, what, roughly a year?
Yes.
But you were with us at Senior Resources before, so what did you do before that?
Before that, I handled our quality and education for our ASA program. I'd make sure that all of our reporting to the state was accurate, made sure that, when the state audited us, that we were all in compliance, which we were, so that was very good. And then I provided educational activities like what we'll mention later on, like the Matter of Balance, the Diabetes Path classes, and also training to other staff.
So a lot of similar experience that made this transition a little easier. And then, of course, we have another coworker who is also grants manager and has been real helpful in all of this. So I think that it's important that people know that that's our role as the administrator of this funding, is to make sure that we're getting the word out as much as we can for organizations to apply for funding, but more importantly, to make sure that they're doing what they said. That's what the county depends on us to do, is make sure that the taxpayer dollars are being well spent, that the organizations are providing the reports, and that they've told us in that request for proposal what numbers of people they expect to serve, what the quality of those programs is, and what area, and we'll talk about that a lot more as we go along. So maybe if we have time, we can talk more about the process, but for now, I think we want to get into a wide variety of programs. And so the reason I asked you here is because you know these better than any. We would have had to have literally 20 different people from 20 different organizations if we talked about each one of theirs. So I don't expect you to be giving lots of details, but so far this year in 2018, end of 2017, the county board has approved well over 1.2 million. I think it's probably more like 1.4 million. And then we've got a little bit more coming soon. But as you mentioned, it's a process. So let's just I'm going to name an agency and their programs, and you're going to tell me just a little bit about them. So Access Health has a program called Volunteer for Dental, and they have two programs that we, and I'm going to say we, that's the Senior Activities Committee and the County Board of Commissioners, that were approved funding for a denture program and dental exams. Tell us a little about that.
So about that, they provide a full dental exam, x-ray, and treatment plan. You have to be part of their program. You have to do an education class, and they do require 4 hours of volunteer service before they schedule your first appointment. And then you also, the client, when you do an hour of service, you get $25 in dental, like a voucher for that. So in addition to the x-ray and treatment plan, which, as we all know, does cost. Yeah. So that part will be taken care of, but then you also get a voucher to possibly get more work done.
Okay. And then just to add, if somebody who needed that dental work isn't able to do the volunteering themselves, they can have a stand-in for them. Somebody can do that for them, correct?
Access Health has a couple volunteers that do volunteer work so that they can bank.
Or you could have a family member or somebody do that for you. So I think that's a really great program. dental needs, we've heard for years at Senior Resources that we've dealt with that with unmet needs. So a really great program for that one. Age-Well Services. Age-Well will take a couple minutes because they've got a lot. They've got health promotion, they've got congregate meals, elder abuse prevention, home-delivered meals. Tell us a little bit about that.
I'm going to start with congregate meals.
Okay.
Congregate meals are that they go to a site. For example, Jefferson Tower. So it's a subsidized apartment building. So they provide meals in there for the older adults. It is a donation-based fee, so you don't have to pay if you don't want to, it's just if you're able to. But they provide the meal there, and then seniors can get together, socialize, and have a nutritious meal. The good news about that, since we gave Age-Well additional funding to expand their services, they expanded into Holton, First Congressional Church, and to Orchard View. So with the money, they're able to expand to more sites, and I think they're up to 10 right now.
And so that's just since last fall when money was first awarded that they've added 2 more sites. And
3 more, yes.
Okay, dozens more people being served, so that's great.
Yep, their home-delivered meals have served excess of 20,000 meals per month, and that is that they bring the meal to the individual's home that is unable to, let's say, go to a congregate site.
And that's also a wellness check, and we've talked about that before in here, but it's a meal and a wellness check when a driver comes there.
They also provide elder abuse, which is like an advocacy portion of it, where they just had an agreement signed, a PAN agreement, where they got together the county prosecutor, the sheriff's department, and they're all going to know their roles when they see a elder abuse case. So say someone is taking advantage of an older abuse's finances or anything like that. They also provide health promotion classes, and this was a very big, a lot of organizations want to do some of these evidence-based classes that have been proven to help older adults possibly get rid of the fear of falling and to actually improve their older adults' coordination and fitness. So they provide that, and so far they're going to provide it at Tanglewood Park, and then they propose to go to Pine Grove Manor and Jefferson Towers as well.
Okay.
And then, so I'm just going to, do you have another agency for me?
Alzheimer's Association. They had an education program, and what's involved in that? I know they're just getting that started.
Yes, they're just getting that started. I just met with the individual that is overseeing it, Tim. Basically, they're going to gather volunteers from all around the county. They're going to provide classes for those volunteers to then provide other caregiving classes for those who have like a mother or sister or anybody suffering from Alzheimer's or dementia. To give like their care, just to understand the disease better and everything like that. So that one's really, it's going to be a pilot program basically in Muskegon County. So
it's trying to recruit some more volunteers to expand that because that's such an ever increasing. We had Alzheimer's on here just a couple months ago. I think that's such a growing issue in the whole country. So that one's just getting underway. And it's important to remember too that some of these, there are a few of the programs that got some funding to expand existing programs like the congregate meals, home delivered, elder abuse prevention. The next one we're going to talk about Red Cross and some legal aid things. So those were programs already going that expanded, and then a lot of these are new programs, which has been cool. So let's talk about the American Red Cross and the Senior Medical Transportation, a great program that's been around for years.
So basically they provide transportation for older adults to get to medical appointments and to get back home. They have a wonderful volunteer base, and all I hear is good things from American Red Cross, but they've shortened they had a long wait list because we know the need for transportation to medical appointments. So with the expanded funds, they were able to, at one point they got rid of the wait list, but then, as people get to know that, they're no longer wait list, they got back on there. But we're hoping that will be eliminated soon.
And they can always use volunteer drivers. Sometimes that's what holds them back too, is not having enough drivers, because it's a great program. All of these are really great programs, but that one's been around for decades and decades, and it's one of the only ones in its kind from the Red Cross. The ARC, which used to be known as, I always feel like I still have to say this, it used to be known the Associated for Retarded Citizens, but it's dealing with people with disabilities, and they have a couple different programs, legacy planning and emergency needs.
So the legacy planning is for the older adults with disabled children, and this is more to help plan for the future of the older adult, because not a lot of us, I'm guilty of this, I'm not planning for where my funds will go after I pass away. So, so the legacy planning has helped guide them.
And of course, then if you're dealing with, and most of us aren't dealing with the same things, it's one thing to try to plan on that, but when you've got a child with a disability who may never be able to live independently, that's a really big concern for those older adults especially. We all get concerned about our kids and what they're going to do later, but it's a whole different concern when you've got somebody who might themselves be 30 or 40 years old but still dependent on an older adult. And it's not like we kind of think our kids will take care of us. It doesn't always work that way for them.
And then they also have the emergency needs, so that is in case something pops up in the home. So in case you have something happens with your furnace or your air conditioner and it's affecting your health, so you have this, and it only costs $250, but you're living paycheck to paycheck and you can't afford it, or it's the choice between having meals or to fix your home to be able to breathe.
Right.
So the emergency need is there to help with that.
Okay, great. Christians for Health, which is also known as health care, has some education classes, those matter of balance classes that you mentioned.
Yep, so I'm happy to announce that Christians for Health already completed one of their matter of balance classes, and very high attendance, and a lot of people like the matter of balance because not only does it address individuals' fear of falling, it also helps them with exercises through week 2 through 10. So you're doing exercises to, strengthen those muscles to, prevent any kind of falls from happening. And then, so they finished that one, and then they'll do a diabetes path class later, and that's just to help individuals understand of diabetes and some tactics to, keep it under control but still live your life to the fullest.
Great. Community Encompass, home repair and nutrition education.
Community Encompass they did the prescribes food for health. So basically, they get a doctor to write a prescription to an older adult and then say, you need to eat more fresh fruits and vegetables. Mm-hmm. And so then when they go to the farmer's market, they can hand the prescription and actually cash it in for what the prescription says, so fresh fruits and vegetables. They also receive funds for some home repair, because we know that's a great need in the community. But they only serve, and we'll get to this later, but Community Compass serves all the areas of McLaughlin, Angel, and Nelson neighborhoods.
Okay. So, and we'll talk about the other areas, but that's very specific to their neighborhood, but new programs there, and as you said, home repair is a huge need. Diana's School of Innovation, she's doing some cool yoga classes.
Yes, she started at the First Congregational Church in Jefferson Towers and is now going to the United Way.
Okay. I think those just started.
Yep, they just started. Yep. And so basically, the committee wanted some exercise classes for everybody. Okay. She does chair yoga, received positive reviews from it, because who doesn't like, to get yoga and get relaxation and everything like that.
Great. Disability Network, transportation voucher. Transportation, as we mentioned, not just for medical, is a huge need.
Right.
So.
And then these are for more that have individuals like a caregiver or anything, and so the caregiver will be eligible for a reimbursement to take their parent or the older adult to appointments or to outings or anything like that.
And it's a mileage reimbursement.
Yes,
so not their time, just for their mileage, but
mileage.
Still can make a really big difference.
Because a lot of caregivers have to sacrifice a lot.
Right.
So at least getting something to them.
Right. Habitat for Humanity, home repairs.
Yeah, so they Habitat for Humanity, as we know, that there's a big need for home repair. So when Habitat applied, the commissioners were really happy about that. The committee was really happy about that. They provide the roof repairs that we see everywhere, and they target everywhere except for those 3 neighborhoods mentioned.
Right. By community
Encompass.
Okay. Legal aid, legal services. This is another one that was an expansion of existing services.
So legal aid provides any kind of legal assistance. It varies between case by case. Maybe you just need to hear about, like, what are your legal options, or maybe you need actual legal assistance. They'll provide that for you.
Okay. Love in the Name of Christ, RAMP program, another big need in our community.
Oh, ramps.
We hear about that all the time, don't we?
Yep. So and you know what's funny? They just finished one of their ramps last week too. So so they do provide ramps. As we all know, it's a great need. It's and they do a lot of due diligence when selecting someone for a ramp. So.
So it's either wood ones if it's a permanent or a metal, you know, and they do mostly volunteers, right?
Yeah, it's mostly volunteers, and it depends. So when the contractor goes out there and views because it has to be has to be a certain angle.
Yeah.
So sometimes they'll choose the metal or the ramp. Just depends which one's easier.
Okay. The Muskegon Health Project, community health worker.
So the community health worker is an individual that can help all these older adults that have barriers to receiving services, because we all know of how complicated it is just to sign up for Medicaid and Medicare, and when you have to sign up for a Part D plan, you see all these different plans. It's like, which one's right for you, and then which one will my doctor accept? And then all these other millage-related services, they don't know how to get to it,
right?
Even though we'll give you the number and how to access them, but this community health worker helps guide the individual to those services, and they don't finish until it's completed.
Right.
So,
great. And the Muskegon Y has a couple, a Live Strong program and Enhanced Fitness.
So Enhanced Fitness helps provide it helps the older adult regain some of the mobility that they have lost with, they use weights to do simple exercises, but with the weight it actually builds muscle in there. And the Live Strong program is to help adults, it helps reduce some of the side effects from cancer treatment and help improve the lives after they've been
with a diagnosis,
with a diagnosis
through the
cancer.
treatment and everything. So, Orchard View Schools, Senior Center activities. They've got a great program out there, so we finally are being able to connect with them and expand some things.
So they needed some help with some of their expand some of their already existing services that they provide. We always hear about the Wii, and then so they helped get the Wii, and then some of the other programs to help provide better activities over there.
And so it's important to note that even though it's through Orchard View Schools, you don't have to be an Orchard View Schools resident. That's for anybody in the county can do that. True of most of these programs. Pioneer Resources, they are doing some things in our eastern part of our county, so important, and then a senior camp and some healthy menu planning.
Yep, so the Eastern Recreational Program, they have pickup locations in the Bailey Christian Church, First Reformed Church, and the Old School on the 142 North Main Street. But basically they take individuals, older adults from the Eastern point, and then take them to activities in downtown Muskegon, like Taste of Muskegon, or any kind of activities, like say they need to go to the farmer's market, or any other thing, because over there it's kind of hard to get any kind of transportation inside or anything like that, so we have to be able to reach all of our counties, all of our townships. And then the day camp, they are providing a camp that offers meals at arts, crafts, overlooking Big Blue Lake. And they'll provide the transportation over there. So it's a really unique proposal that they brought up, but it was very well received. And then the menu plan is that they wanted a dietitian to help develop a menu for 6 weeks for older adults, tailored to their needs. And that will be available to everybody in Muskegon County once it's finished. And so you'll be able to buy foods from the farmer's market, and then be able to cook for yourself a nutritious meal that is tailor-made for older adults.
That's great. That'll be exciting to see. Professional Med Team, or Pro Med, that's the ambulance service in town, is doing senior safety assessments.
Yeah, so they're providing safety assessments, like you said. So they're looking at the home, like they're seeing if it's safe for the older adult, if there's any kind of cordage across the hall, or if they need a ramp, or handles, or grab bars, or anything like that. And then they're also making sure that they're connecting to the other services that can provide those. They're not just saying, "Oh, you need this," but
Then
they're
you might
also
connect to Habitat or to Community Encompass.
so
to do
they'll
some
walk
of
them
that.
through to get to the other
Perfect.
services. And I think they had a story where they did help an individual.
Yep, with a ramp. Yep.
So.
Ravenna Township is doing some senior social events.
Yes.
You and I visited, and that was a lot of fun.
It was. So, as we all know, we were trying to reach the outer counties, outer townships, sorry. And they had an individual doing the meal site over there to get every senior to go there and have fun, and it's a party. And so Ravenna helped provide that with these millage funds, and I know that
stipend for a staff person to
Yes.
help provide.
So it's very well attended. Last time, I think when we went, there was like 25, 26 individuals there. They have it at the fire barn in Ravenna. And
it was a good meal. We went in March, and it was corned beef and all of that. But it was fun and informational and good food and socialization.
And then they also provide training during there. So they have speakers come in to, and I think they're going to have Access Health go there pretty soon. And then they also provide some exercise in addition to that.
All right, well, I know we're running out of time, so we'll go. We just a couple left. But White Lake Community Ed is also doing some fitness.
Yes, they're doing matter of balance classes because always well received.
And again, gets us into an outer part of the county, in the northern part of the county, so essentially.
And they finished the class as well, and it was very well received, and I think they have a wait list for the next couple of classes. So.
Wonderful. And then the last one we'll talk about, the White Lake Senior Center, again, in that northern part, has some senior center activities they're doing.
Yes, this was to keep it pretty much, they were losing funding, and then this helped them to keep it open for longer to provide, and they had so many activities on Thursday. Right. They had the coffee meet, and then had not wood carving, I don't know what it's called. I'm just going to say other activities.
So it allowed them to keep their doors open longer rather than have to reduce hours, so we were able to keep their stability going. So that's just so far, and then there are more because we're in the process now of having some more programs go in front of the commissioners again. So we'll probably have to come back in a few more months and talk about in the fall or winter. I know you're excited about that, but there's a lot of them. A lot of those are new, and as we said, we really, the committee and the commissioners thought it was really important to make sure we especially got into the outer reaches of the county, and it's exciting because we get those monthly reports, and really we've been almost everywhere. Somebody is getting touched in every area of the county, and we know that'll happen soon. So I'm really excited about that. If you want more information about the millage, you can always go to our website, which is www.seniorresourceswmi.org, and there is a Muskegon County Senior Millage page there. That's got information on all of these. I'm going to run out of other things to do with the last half a minute we've got, so I'm going to remind you, you can call our options counselors at Senior Resources, and they know about these programs, and that number is 231-733-3585. If you can't remember that, you can always call 211. They also have the list of all these programs, know when they're offered, and how to connect you to those. But please try to be aware of that. We're hoping that they'll all be promoting in a variety of ways, and if you know are an older adult in Muskegon or know one, please encourage them to take advantage of these. Your tax dollars are paying for them, and it's a really great variety. So again, call 211. Damian, that time went faster than any show I think I've done. So thank you for being with me. I hope we'll have you back another time, and we can talk a little bit more as we have even more programs coming up. We'll talk more down the road. Thanks for joining us today.